Hello there, and welcome back to Travel with the Keels. If you've been watching along, in recent weeks, we have released a collection of videos showing our most recent trip as we went on an Alaskan cruise on the Norwegian Bliss. And so there's a collection of videos that we've done kind of sharing our very first time kind of recording. We've taken lots of pictures on our trips, but our first time recording things for the purposes, vlogging it for the purposes of sharing our experiences with others. So we had that intent as we headed into that trip. And so now what we're going to do actually now is we're going to backtrack just a bit to go back to the beginning of when we first started doing real adult vacationing for the first time in our marriage. We've been married now close to 22 years. And in 2020, the very beginning, there's kind of like the pre-cruise life and the post-cruise life.
Exactly.
Our lives
and it starts at 2020, which...
Yes. Yeah, so 2020 was the beginning of a whole new chapter in our lives, and that's kind of what brought us to where we're at now for vlogging and doing these things, is sharing some of our travel stuff, our cruise tips, and those sorts of things. So anyway, so we're going to go back to the beginning and kind of provide some context for the before times. I know a lot of times people talk about the before times before 2020. Well, we have our before times, and so we're going to share, so we're going to share our before time context. And then I think that'll shed a lot of light on why we've really enjoyed the trips that we've done, the vacations we've done, the things we've been doing as far as Disney cruises and other cruises. It's going to provide a lot of context for why we were so excited to finally take some trips. So our before times, yes. What were our before vacations like in the first 15 years of marriage?
Yes.
What were our vacations like, hon?
So we March of 2020, is when our anniversary was 16 years. So the first 15 years of our marriage, we had 4 vacations.
Yeah.
4. One of them was the honeymoon.
Yeah.
So.
And that was a week. I mean, that was kind of a week where it wasn't like we were.
And of course, you know, you're newly married. We were pretty young when we got married.
And pretty poor.
And it was like, we're the ones in charge of this? Like, what are we doing?
And for me, that was the first time I'd ever been in charge of planning a trip, you know, she had lots of stuff on the wedding side to plan. My job was the honeymoon. And so I had to make a rental, we stayed at.
So we went to Gatlinburg, that's our honeymoon spot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, even though we were poor, it was still a fun, it was a fun vacation. So we rented a cabin in the woods, or in the mountains.
We're going to call them the Little Mountains, because now after going to Alaska, we saw the mountains. Yes. Those, mountains. So the Smoky Mountains, we saw the Smoky Mountain version of mountains.
But it's still, they're still bigger than what we're used to here in Flatland, Illinois.
We're in Illinois. It's pretty flat, So yes, mountains.
But I mean, gorgeous setting. Cute little, cabin.
Up higher in the mountains.
And you're going like this and around curves to get up to it. We were just like, whoa, what are we doing here? But yeah, it was a week vacation.
Driving, and that week includes, driving down there. We had family that lived down in Tennessee at the time. So it was kind of like, go visit family, go on the honeymoon, go to the mountains, do that stuff, come back. But yeah, that was our first vacation right off the bat. But yeah, so over the 15 years after that, not so many vacations.
Our next vacation was maybe 3 years later.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg, we call it Gatlinburg 2.0. We did the same thing. We rented a cabin in the mountains with another couple. And
I thought that was maybe late, because the Kansas City was before. We had we had Kansas City trip after.
Okay.
Okay.
And even then, I don't really consider.
She's a historian. She knows the dates, the times, the sequence, the chronology. I know events happened. I do not know where they happened in relation to each other. So I will go with that. Yes. We went on Gatlinburg with our friends. Did they have any kids at the time?
No, they were not. They were kidless. Just
yeah,
like
so we got a cabin. They have multiple rooms, lots of things you can do, and so we went down.
Yeah, and like that's when we went to the Ripley's Aquarium in Gatlinburg.
Very nice.
We highly recommend going to see Ripley's Aquarium. That was also the vacation where we had the scorpion in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. On my towel, like.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do our Gatlinburg video since we've we've done some vacations down there. We'll have to maybe do a separate thing there. Yeah. So yeah, we had that was that just like a week sort of thing where we had it from a Sunday to a Thursday. Yeah. Because usually the rentals for the cabins were down there were like that. You check in on a Sunday and then as many days as you wanted. And so we would go on a Sunday and then we'd leave on Thursday to go once again to see family or something like that. So we just kind of squeezed everything into that week of vacation. Yeah.
And again, we were still poor, so
yeah.
Like not a lot of souvenirs from those trips.
No. A wooden thing that says Keels, established in 2004. A wood thing with little. That was later. That was the
third Gatlinburg.
Oh, trip. Third Gal. Yeah, we were poor long. Yeah, we were poor.
Yeah.
For a while.
Anyway, so next was in between. So basically, we vacationed in Gatlinburg 3 times. In the middle of the second and the third was our trip to Kansas City. But
see family down there.
Part of me is like, is that really a vacation? We were just going to hang out with family. But I mean, we got to experience a lot of things in Kansas City.
We had an extended weekend, a longer time. If it involves flying somewhere, it qualifies. That's my criteria because until we got married, I'd only flown twice. I'd flown to Phoenix when I was in high school, flown to San Antonio when I was in high school, both for church-related event type things. And so I say yes. We went to an airport. We flew down to Kansas City for the weekend, jet setters, and
it was Easter weekend, so we had a long weekend.
It was a holiday. So yes, I'm going to call that a family-related vacation for a little bit.
And then in 2015. My family decided to do a family vacation in Gatlinburg because we had raved about Gatlinburg. And so my family decided to go. My parents couldn't make it last minute. Something happened. They weren't able to come. But my brother and his wife and their 2 children came.
Yep.
So we're calling that Gatlinburg 3.0. Yep. And that time we had more money. So we were able to treat them for dinners and stuff like that. We did a lot of fixing. Again, a cabin in the mountains. That's when we really encountered our first bears.
We did a lot of hiking that one because that's when I was working on losing weight, and so we went hiking 3 or 4 different days to different waterfalls that they had. Yes. And so I remember that being the thing there.
I would say we did 3 hikes on our own, and then we did
Rainbow Falls, Grotto Falls, and one other one.
I know we did one with the kids 2 and under. 2 kids 2 and under. So
is that when I had a torn ACL? No, that was the other one.
That was 2.0. You had a torn ACL, and he's hiking through the mountains.
Hiking up the mountain. I was a designated bear bait. So we'll have to share that. We'll have to do a video specifically on our Gatlinburg vacations. Wonderful place to visit. You can really make money go a long ways down there, especially when I think of how much we spent on those vacations compared to what we spend on vacations now for cruises, and especially Disney cruises. When I think of how much we spend now, it's like, wow, that was just worlds ago, a lifetime ago. Wow. So those were our 4 vacations from honeymoon to 15 years married. We had a honeymoon, we had 2 other Gatlinburg vacations, and we had one little brief vacation to Kansas City to see family. And outside of that, our vacation time was used for ministry event things that we were volunteering with. And so there were events where we would go down to Trevecca down in Nashville, or we went to...
These are Nazarene colleges.
Yeah, so Nazarene College down there because they had the National Bible Quiz tournament was down there. We went to Oklahoma City because the tournament thing was down there. We went to Kansas City because it was there.
No, we didn't go.
I did trips there for invitational stuff.
We went to Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Yep.
For a ministry trip.
So we both of us agree those were not vacations. We used vacation time to go do that. Because those were serving opportunities instead of...
So we work with this quizzing ministry, a part of the Church of the Nazarene. And so when you're sitting at a table looking at questions,
So exciting.
For the entire day.
And you're days. Looking at them. I'm having to read them.
Yes.
Not jumble my words.
Yes.
So here's the thing.
So those are not vacations because we're working really. But it was great to be able to like get out of town.
Yeah.
But
it's better than being at actual work.
Yeah.
So it was better than, but it really wasn't exciting. I mean, we don't have a bunch of pictures from those sorts of things.
Not really,
but all of that to say, for 15 years, those were our experiences. So let's just say in 2019, when the possibility came up for us to plan a vacation, we were starving for some fun vacations that we could enjoy.
But I will say, it all started with a dream. Because he had a dream. So our best friends...
Isn't there a Tangled song about I Have a Dream?
There is.
What is it?
I have a dream.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so I had a dream, and my dream, we have some friends of ours who have done dozens and dozens of Disney trips over the years. Yes. And we've known that for Disney. A long time.
She's actually a Disney vacation planner.
Yes.
I will link her down below if you want to contact her about getting a Disney vacation. She will help you.
So being around, having friends that do that sort of thing on a regular basis, we'd heard about Disney stuff a lot.
I have been there several times when I was little.
Several, as in three? Three times. So she'd been to Disney 3 times when she was little. Me, I grew up also not vacationing as a child really too much. We went a few different places. But I was, let's just say I was completely uninterested in doing some sort of a trip to Disney. I've got bad knees. For me, I think of, standing in lines for different things. Like, that's not going to be fun. It's for kids. It's not for adults. That was my mentality. And so I was completely uninterested in anything Disney. But sometimes when you hang around people that have got that Disney thing going, Disney magic, Disney whatever, sometimes the pixie dust rubs off. And so that's actually what happened. And so I have lots of dreams all the time. And I'm some people dream differently. Some people can remember the dream. Some people can't. I have lots of dreams, and I can remember my dreams most of the time, not all the time. But anyways, I just had this really crazy dream where in the dream we were going on a vacation with our friends, and they have 2 girls, and they were younger at the time. And so in the dream we went on this vacation, and I felt like we were dropping our stuff off at like our hotel room, but it was like a really big room, like it's like maybe like an apartment type thing. We were dropping our stuff off to get started on this vacation. We were at Disney in this dream, and so I just remember we're dropping off our stuff, and then I was really excited in the dream to meet Mickey Mouse, and I was just so excited to meet Mickey Mouse. But somebody told me that I needed to wait for Ruby, our friend's oldest daughter, that I needed to wait for Ruby to get back before I could go see Mickey. And so in the dream, I'm like, where is she? She needs to get here so we can go meet Mickey. I can't wait to go meet Mickey. And I wake up and I'm like, wow, that dream was just,
So we tell our friends about this dream, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I had a dream that we went to Disney with our friends. And in my dream, we are on a roller coaster. We are just leaving the station. I am sitting next to their youngest daughter. And as we're pulling out, she stands up. Because, little kids, they don't want to sit still. They don't want to be buckled. So she stands up, and we're all trying to get her to sit down so we can ride this ride. Mm-hmm. And so that next day, after the dream, I called my friend. I said, I think it's a sign that we need to go on vacation with you guys, because I just had a Disney dream with you that you were featured in it as well.
Yep. And to provide just a little bit more context too, these are friends that before we moved up here now almost 8 years ago, and so 6 years ago, so more than 8 years. Yeah. So 8 years ago when we moved up here, we had lived down in Kankakee area, Bourbonnais area for a long time. These were friends that we would see 2-3 times a week because we went to the same church. We worked in ministry stuff together. We had board game nights together. We had a bunch of different things. And so these are people that we would see literally 2 to 3 times almost every week through the year. And so these are people we saw a lot. So after we moved up here,
best friends.
So after we moved up here, our ability to see them and be around their family was just really limited. And so after a year of that, in 2018, it had just gotten to where it's like, man, you know what? We need to figure out something. Let's figure out a vacation so we can spend some extra time together that we
Yes.
don't normally have. And that's when the suggestion came up that
Well, they had just come back from their first Disney cruise.
Yeah.
And so when I texted her, I said, "Hey, I had a dream about Disney last night. I think it's a sign." 2 hours later, she's like, "Hey, I can get us a good deal on a cruise." And I was like, "Well,
So,
okay,
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have a problem."
So they had just went on their very first Disney cruise. They had a wonderful time, and they were planning on doing that again. And so they were wanting to do that maybe like a year or so later. And so that's when the conversation started between mostly her. I believe, did she put together a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, she did, to
something
convince
like that?
this one that he needs to go.
Yeah.
Because it's a cruise, so you're
Not
on
a fan
water.
of water.
He doesn't like water.
I love my friends' kids, but I'm indifferent towards
Lots
kids
of
in
kids.
general. And so I'm thinking a boat filled with a bunch of kids, and they're not my friends' kids, so I really just can get annoyed
And
with that.
Disney, he was not a big fan, so it's
Wasn't-
a miracle.
I wasn't
We
a
got
hater,
him.
but I definitely wasn't a fan. But that was like strike one, strike two, strike three. I'm out. But she was very interested in doing that.
I
And
was.
so, yeah.
So we originally planned to go in November of 2019, but in the process of his ordination for, to be a pastor, there was an event that we had to go to. Like, it was mandatory that we go. It was a spouse retreat kind of thing. And it was going to be in the middle of the cruise that we were planning. So we were like, well, let's rearrange things and we'll go in another time. So we picked January of 2020.
Yeah.
And that's when we went on our first cruise.
Yeah. And so in the lead up, so for me, because of that gap, because there was right at a year from, because initially we were talking about it was probably October, November of the 1 year, and the event was the next year. So we were looking at a 1 year wait for the cruise originally, and then it switched to January 16th or 14th or somewhere around there. So it ended up being
Martin
longer.
Luther King weekend.
So it was going to be a long wait. I am an impatient person, and so I just didn't want to like hear details about stuff or plan about something. I'm very ADHD. I'm also a horrible procrastinator because I'm a right now person. And so it's like, don't talk to me about a vacation a year and 2 months away. Like that's just, there's like a gazillion things between now and then.
Yes.
Not interested in hearing a single thing about a vacation or anything like that far in advance. And so that's where you guys kind of took the reins on a lot of things. I told Lori, I said, just tell me how much I need to pay and when I need to pay it so I can, because I'd manage the finances. And so I'm like, just tell me those details because obviously I need to kind of plan ahead with how we're going to pay for that. And so I did that part of it for the beginning. That was all I didn't know anything. I wasn't pulling up videos about anything to learn. I didn't know how many ships Disney had. I just didn't know anything about cruising in general.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't know anything either. So the videos that I did pull up, some of them, they were for other ships. So, I'm expecting to be able to go to this bar or whatever. Like, I wanted to go to the Pink Room that's on the Disney Dream, the Pink Bar or whatever. I just wanted to go in and look at it. Well, that's not on the Magic, which is where the cruise ship that we went on. So like there were things that I was looking at that wasn't helping us at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we were very novice in really anything vacation related, and so for us too. So for me, what I did, so for where I work over at the school, special needs school, with that, we have a break. Week, maybe a little bit more than a week, but we had that break from Christmas to New Year. So the school is entirely shut down. And so my thing was, okay, the vacation is middle of January. I've got this time off from Christmas to New Year's. When it gets to that week and I've got time off from work and I've got space to be able to start getting into the details of what this trip is going to look like, that week is when I'm going to actually, hey, so what are we doing? What days are we doing? What does this entail? And so I waited all the way until that week of Christmas to New Year's to start learning the actual details. Anything else beyond the price and all of that. And so I asked very few questions prior to that.
I did get your input on excursions that we were gonna do.
Because that involved,
Money.
that. So that was kind of why I was involved. It's like, hey, there's these excursions. We need to book certain things, which we only did one. But we'll get to that.
Well,
we'll get to
we'll
that stuff.
We'll
But
do a
yeah.
whole video on on all the cruises that we've done.
Yeah, so the next video will actually be about that very first trip, that very first cruise, very first just really big adult vacation that we had. But yeah, so that
adult
was
vacations on Disney cruise ships.
Yeah.
You can still do that. You can still do that.
Yeah, there's plenty of people who do. So that was our situation. After 15 years, we were starving for just something different, a different way of doing vacations than we had done before, something other than going to the Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area.
We still recommend it, though.
Yes.
I still want to go back.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to go back. But those were spread out over many years. And so we were really hungry and starving for a new way to do vacations. Friends informed us on a new thing for us to look at. And so by the time we get to 2020, we were ready to try something new. And so is there anything else to summarize, like where we were going back to the beginning, going back to where we were in that season? Is there anything else you can think of?
No, not really. I mean, our souvenirs purchasing has changed since.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, and now I'd say two priorities. So like for us, as we, years of working, we finally, started making more money. I've had multiple jobs going on for a while. And so I would say our priorities changed too. Like, hey, we're busy here. We need vacations. We need more time together. And so we've kind of reprioritized things in that regard. And so vacations have been a part of, hey, this is some great time for us to step away from all the busyness. And so a change in our finances, in that time, a change in our priorities, all of those things kind of all converged around that 2020, just in the nick of time too. That's for sure. We'll talk about that probably later, but yeah, all of those things and being able to go on that first really fun vacation just in the nick of time before everything else. Yeah. So it's like we got a nice little vacation and a reprieve to really enjoy some things right before we couldn't have enjoyed anything.
And things to think about and reminisce about while we're stuck in the house.
It gave us, that space became a time where we could start planning, researching, figuring out all sorts of things. So that way, as soon as the things open back up in the world for people to be able to travel and for people to be able to vacation and do some of those things, we were ready to go. So I think that's all we've got for this video. And then we will tell you all about that, the details for that first big vacation.
The inaugural Keel
in the next video.
Cruise.
If you like our videos, like and subscribe as we share some more of our vacation journeys.
Bye, friends.